Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to 2025. Happy New Year. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole for the first This Week in Karting of the 2025 season, episode number 83. As you know, if you're a fan of our This Week in Karting shows, we just call it TWIC. This Week in Karting works good for us. Perfect for listening on the way to work or in the shop if you're getting things ready for the 2025 season. But David Cole, 2024 is behind us. We're going racing now in about a week and a half's time. It's 2025.
It is behind us. Yeah, we're in the second day of the new year. Yesterday, I did a lot of nothing. That's how I love to bring in the new year. You kind of reset, after a fun way to end the previous year, having good celebration. And I hope everybody else did and got home safe from, a lot of people at Daytona Kart Week and a lot of people heading to Jacksonville right now or at Jacksonville. For Cup Karts North America Winter Nationals at 103rd Street Sports Complex
racing
in Jacksonville. Underway. So, racing, the season's already underway. We're going to have hopefully a report from WKA. One of our stories that will hit is a factor of the delay of the report. We'll get into that a little bit. And then we'll have next week, we'll have a report on Jacksonville, and then we'll be trackside. So it's off and running.
Indeed, yeah. So obviously, David talked about being trackside. The SuperKarts USA Winter Series looking to be maybe even set records once again for this start of the season here. Yeah, you were talking about it's going to be big. Post that on Facebook as well. So we'll be there again, not this coming weekend, obviously weekend after that. David and I'll be trackside for that event, and lots of races lined up for the EKN trackside program for 2025. This edition, though, of This Week in Karting, presented by Sodi Racing USA. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Sodi Kart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season, thanks to a new exclusive importer, the karting distribution led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. Well, David, this week in karting, we might just want to change it to this month in karting because that's normally when we kind of get around to getting these shows knocked out. December 4th, about a month ago, was the last one. That was episode number 81. But David, let's kind of dive into things here right now. One of the big pieces of news that we had and we saw it really kind of present itself to us while we were at the Super Nationals, and that was kind of the evolution of factory karts. You and I rolled into Vegas for the first time, into the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. In we go. What do we see? A brand new trailer for factory karts. Now, of course, the hauler, first and foremost, but a lot going on, not just the hauler.
Yeah, this kind of wraps up the 2024 season because this was an article we kind of put together towards the end of the year and going into 2025. And it's a crucial part of our sport right now because factory karts is making big strides into 2025 and beyond. So, with new ownership by businessman Duke Vander Ark, that's kind of helped take factory karts to the next level, adding in Drew Bischoff, who's the vice president and now team principal for factory karts. That's kind of the core change of it. Yeah. The face still remains the same. That's the one thing that's not changed. It's Billy Musgrave. He's there. He's the face of the company. He's the guy in the seat. He's the guy doing all the testing, making all the different changes with the chassis that again, they continually can do, having the in-house factory and manufacturing right there. But that a lot has gone over the last 2024, those 12 months to now get them into 2025.
Yeah, I think a really big evolution for the company, David. You mentioned it. Billy Musgrave, as you said, remains the face of the company. But what this really does is allow him to do what Billy Musgrave does best. Right? He's not having to run the company. He's not having to handle dealer network. He's the lead driver. He's the chassis technician. Like you said, he does all the R&D. He's on the track all the time. And with the development of the factory karts factory team, he's also the race team driver, coach, lead driver. But he's able to do really, I think, more what's in his wheelhouse as opposed to trying to run the company, which in the growth we've seen over the last year and a half, you need somebody like Drew to come in and take this thing to the next level.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you see with typical businesses. You have the right people doing the right jobs, and that's kind of what you need. We do see a lot of race teams that have one person doing a lot of the different things that they can do. But sometimes it helps to take away certain responsibilities and hand it off to somebody else to do that, so they can focus a little bit more on other things. We have that here at Howden Media Group as well too.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly the face, but you have the voice for radio. So
wow. Yeah,
first jab of 2025. So there we go.
It is the same thing, obviously, David. You do a lot of the stuff that you need to do with what we do with eCartingNews.com. I, of course, are a more overarching program with Howden Media Group, what I do with the USF Pro Championships. So yeah, it's we understand the concept, and I think we're all going to see it pay off dividends into 2025. And of course, not only is it the factory carts team, is it the chassis themselves, is everything they're doing on that side of the program, but the FC shifter engine platform is something we talked to Billy and Drew about quite a bit when we were in Las Vegas. They actually had a demo race during the weekend to show, I think it was 8 or 9 carts out on track with the FC65. So this new spec shifter program that's coming out of factory carts is something I think we'll be watching quite a bit in the years to come.
Yeah, the debut at the Super Nationals was big. It's opening the eyes to the youth of karting right now, because the old people in us talk about the old days of Superkarts USA, and that's when you had the 60cc, the 80cc, and that's where a lot of development for the current motorsport stars began, because they got into shifter carts early. They were able to understand car control a little bit more, and front and rear brake a combination as well too, rather than being single speed legends that sometimes do have a hard transition going into cars. So this is a really cool platform spec program. Again, something that across the world we're now seeing with a lot of spec programs take off, and this is again focused at the grassroots and regional level, where we kind of need an influx of shifter kart racing again.
Yeah, as David mentioned, this is some of the obviously the news stories that made it to the homepage of eCartingNews.com. That's what we kind of do with this week in karting, is bring them all together. We talked earlier last year about the FC shifter engine program. Of course, the article that we had with the interview with Drew Bischoff about factory carts, and kind of cap it off, David. One of the big things as part of it is a brand new headquarters that they've got in Phoenix, Arizona, as well.
Yeah, and that's the biggest change is moving everything from Southern California over to Phoenix, where Bischoff is located. So it helps that, but it's also bringing the company to a new standard, because they're bringing all new state of the art machines to be able to manufacture these carts more precise, more quality driven, and more efficient. So it's a big move. And like I said, it was a 12-month process that is now starting to make dividends and move again, take this operation to the next level.
That's it. 100% taking it to the next level, more towards what you would see coming out of the Italian factories for sure. A lot of great stuff. It's going to be a good 2025 and beyond for factory carts. Dave, let's go from Arizona. Let's come east to Florida, which is where the home base is essentially in the winter for Parolin Motorsport USA. Parolin we've seen here over in America for a number of years right now, but Parolin Motorsport USA now formed, essentially the factory team for Parolin.
Yeah, it's going to be the United States factory team. There is a cooperation between Parolin Motorsport factory team in Italy and Parolin USA, which is based in Southern Florida. They are the distributor for the Parolin brand here in the United States and North America. But they're now forming a more focused race team that is going to have that cooperation between not only Parolin USA, but the factory team and the factory itself over in Italy. So a good correlation between all those different entities, kind of allowing there to be, because there's different teams that do utilize the Parolin brand and whether it be cadet racers or senior racers, this and that. So I think they kind of wanted to streamline that and to make this kind of like the official race team for the Parolin brand here in the United States. Now going to be led by Ben Crittenden, the Parolin USA Technical and Operations Director. He was named to that position just about a year ago, as I think we were wrapping up the winter months competition in 2024. So he's been running a race team, Super Tune USA, for a number of years. So this is nothing new. So he's going to be being the guy for Parolin on that side of things. They're going to be based in Miami during the winter months because of, as we all know, there's going to be 80 different races in Florida over the next 2 months. So that's where they're going to be based at. And then he'll transition back home to Indianapolis for the summer season, where he is actually based out of. So it's going to be an interesting concept. We've seen Parolin, again, like we said, in a number of different race teams, but this is going to be more centralized and more supported by not only the factory itself, but the factory race team as well in Italy.
Yeah, it's a really cool deal for Parolin, and kind of it's always good to see the connection, right, Dave, between Italy and a really direct connection to some of the support programs or the factory teams over here. And I'm sure Ben will do a fantastic job, of course, down in Miami in the winter and in Indianapolis in the summer. So solid for Parolin USA for sure. David, actually, we're kind of in an industry section here, right? We talked about Factory Kart, we've talked about Parolin Motorsports on this edition of This Week in Karting, but actually some news actually came out just today. I think you posted it to the as a top story at EKN today about TB Kart USA announcing a new partnership with Norway Motorsports Park. Very interesting announcement.
Yeah, as we've talked about towards during the second half of 2024, we saw the new change of ownership at what was, Concept Haulers Motor Speedway in Norway, Illinois. They've transitioned now the ownership at I believe the beginning of December. And renamed it Norway Motorsports Park. And the new owners are basically all in. They're looking to make the Norway facility what it was and be a big hub in the Chicago area for the sport of karting. And I think this is one of the big moves that they're making, partnering up with TB Kart USA and Amarillo Kart Complex to be one of the dealers for the TB Kart brand. They're actually going to be kind of the support area or support system for Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Kentucky. So that's going to be kind of their region for the brand, helping support, take care of customers in that area and other programs as well. And they've also taken on a new rental kart fleet that is TB Kart manufactured. So that's, as we see with a lot of these manufacturers, they're not just competition side; they're also in the rental kart business as well too. So you're starting to see a lot of that happening with all the different brand manufacturers, and TB Kart being one of them. And Norway, with the new ownership, they're looking to make everything look and feel brand new, and that's what they're doing with the influx of the new rental kart fleet.
Yeah, even more and above just being a dealer in those states that you mentioned, the concept has kind of become like the Midwest kind of distribution center, right? To have a lot of stock there, a lot of parts on hand. So if you're a TB Kart driver in those states, there's going to be lots of parts available. They're going to actually do a lot of stocking, I think, in terms of the partnership here with TB Kart USA. So all in all, really big news for the brand.
Yeah, big news for the brand. As we know, Race Lab's still going to be the official race team here in the United States. But TB Kart USA and Amarillo Kart Complex working on expanding that distribution quickly.
Indeed. All right, folks, into our first commercial break here on this edition, the first This Week in Karting of the 2025 season. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. We get back, we'll talk a little bit about the FIA Karting Academy Trophy, and also we'll talk about a little bit of Race Road Tax. We'll give you some information on the U.S. Trophy West event. Parolin is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Parolin Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Parolin Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Parolin chassis lineup also includes the Invader shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParolinUSA.com website where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Parolin USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. Welcome back to this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 83. It's January the 2nd, 2025. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole as we give you some of the news that really made its way to the website over the last couple of weeks of 2024. We just talked about the fact that TV Kart USA announcing their partnership with Norway Motorsports Park. That actually was posted today, January the 2nd, our first real news post of the 2025 season. David, some of the news that kind of dropped into our email boxes here in late December was kind of centered on the 2025 FIA Karting Academy Trophy. We've seen a number of drivers from America go over and run that program. The USA driver application process now open, we're told.
Yes, the Academy Trophy program has been going on, I want to say, since 2010. I think this is 15th or 16th year of it. So it's been going on for a number of times. We've seen a number of different drivers from around the world go through this program. Charles Leclerc, a former champion in this program, along with American Connor Zillage as well, too, who is certainly making his way up the stock car ranks here in the United States. And sports car as well too. Can't forget about that with the Rolex and the Sebring, and I think did he pick up the Road Atlanta win as well too?
I can't remember, but you're right, man. The guy's.
I don't know if he got the trifecta. He might have got the trifecta. I can't remember. But yes, this program's expanding. What has been typically a junior program, kind of focused around a spec program. With junior drivers is now going to offer both junior and senior categories in 2025. So this program is expanding. They've seen kind of how, we just talked about how spec racing is starting to grow across the world. FIA is kind of recognizing that. And so now they've established the junior category and senior category, junior being 12 to 14-year-olds. With the senior category going 14 to 16-year-old drivers. And they're separating these events as well, too, from different events. The junior program will have 3 events. The first will be in Valencia for May. July heads to Germany. And then September, they head to Italy, while the senior program begins our favorite place, Portimao, Portugal, in May. Head to Italy in June. And then Denmark in July. So again, 2 separate programs at separate events throughout the 2025 season, but still focused around that spec program with working with OTK and Vortex as the official suppliers of the chassis and engine manufacturer. I believe it's Vega Tires as well too. So it's an interesting concept. Again, we saw Turner Brown go over there in 2024. Earn 5th place in the championship, did really well, got kind of hampered in the opening event with rain issues and getting taken out in a pace lap. But still, it's exciting program. It's a great opportunity for now a driver up to the age of 16 in the senior category to be able to go and do international competition on a spec platform with racers that are essentially very similar in terms of experience at the international level, because right now they're changing that to where no drivers who race at the international level can compete in this program. So a lot of things have changed. So make sure you read the article that was put out about the program. It's definitely going to get a lot of attention for the junior categories. It'll be interesting to see that 14 to 16-year-old range, what drivers do submit their applications for that category. But I'm sure there's a bunch of 14-year-olds looking at it like, I could be the first inaugural senior champion in this new program.
Yeah, that was posted. David's article was posted in top stories on the website on December the 30th. So go check that out, David. If you want to get in on this, you got to dive in pretty quickly, correct?
Yes, the applications must be in by January 10th. So yeah, you have basically a week to do that. It's not a complicated application, but you got to make sure that you're in process of getting your FIA license ready to go so that there's no issues. Make sure you are a U.S. citizen or have a U.S. License to compete for the United States. I guess that was a problem last year where they had a lot of international drivers trying to do that.
Right.
But yeah, so make sure you contact USAC if you have any questions. Again, links are on the article, and contact USAC Racing or USAC Karting to get more information.
Let's move to another event that we'll obviously see here, and we've had for the last couple of years. I mentioned earlier, the 2025 U.S. Trophy West event has been confirmed. Of course, we've seen U.S. Trophy West, Trophy East races, of course, the Trophy Final at Newcastle Motorsports Park. But the Trophy West event will be a single race this year, David, February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, out of the Phoenix Kart Racing Association track, the PKR track, in Glendale, Arizona. Fantastic facility, and that's where the U.S. Trophy West guys will go at it. Lots up for grabs, actually, in this particular event.
Yes, so with the single event format, they're still going to award Rotax Grand Final tickets as they did in a series format. So this is a unique kind of one-off for the West Coast. So we saw that back in the day. There used to be the Pan American Challenge or something like that, however they called it, where it was kind of a one-off type scenario where they would come in and do that. And so, 6 Rotax Grand Final tickets on the line. You have Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, Masters, and DD2 are part of this program. So it's quite it's an interesting concept. I'm just about to pull up the schedule because I wanted to make sure, because what they've done in the past is they've done multiple finals on the weekend, and I think this is the same thing as well too, where they're going to have 2 races on the weekend. So it's going to be kind of not a winner take all, but almost like a championship format within a weekend to be able to score the Rotax Grand Final tickets. So,
and David, it's open to international drivers, correct?
And it is open to international drivers. That's the one thing with the West and East programs last year. We saw a lot of Canadians come down to do both programs. I believe a couple Canadians stealing a couple of the tickets as well too. So, that's the interesting part. We have, an Oliver Hodgson going up to Canada, taking a couple tickets up there. Derek Wang has done that as well too. But we get the Canadians coming down and taking some tickets, or even some other international drivers. Now that Race Rotax kind of has a cooperation with Japan, you might see a couple of Japanese drivers coming over and doing the West Trophy event. So it'll be quite interesting. I don't see if they're going to change the racetrack around. They've done that before, but looking at their weekend schedule, I don't believe they're going to do a directional change, because they have done that in the past. So maybe it's just going to be the same track configuration, but 2 race days with the overall winner taking home the grand final tickets.
Indeed, that's out in Phoenix, February 21st to 23rd, the 2025 U.S. Trophy West event, a one-off with 6 tickets up for grabs to go to Bahrain. So, hey, listen, great opportunity if you want to be part of Team USA, Team Canada, whichever international country you're coming in from. Great opportunity to head to a fantastic racetrack at the second half of February to see if you can come away with a ticket to the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. Another break in the action, folks. When we get back, David's going to talk about why he's going to struggle getting together with the WK Kart Week article. A little bit on CIK FIA homologation and a kind of a cool program coming out of the west coast of Canada as well as Carplex partnering to launch a Motorsports Scholar Athlete Academy. We'll talk about that after this break. Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP Easy GP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to This Week in Karting, episode 83, January the 2nd, 2025, our first podcast of the 2025 season. There'll be lots of them, as you know. We'll have, of course, an Outlap podcast, a preview for the SuperKart USA Winter Series event coming up next week. We'll do the debrief after that as well. Then away we go through 12 months of action leading, of course, past the Super Nationals and into the events in Daytona at the end of 2025. Speaking of Daytona 2025, WK Kart Week wrapping up just before the New Year's. And of course, all those events were awesome down there. Able to follow along a little bit as the day was going on, the weekend was going on, watching on Race Hero. David, why is it that you are not going to be able to write the results off of Race Hero now?
Well, Race Hero is no longer.
Wow.
It's shut down. It was a big story that hit prior to the PRI show.
Yeah.
We saw it come out, kind of wondering what's going on, and it kind of makes a little, it makes business sense in terms of what's going on with the parent company that was Motorsports Reg, which got bought by
Pirello Holdings.
Yes, and again, the Race Hero was free for anybody to download, and when you offer something free, you got to have a little bit in return to help pay for the expenses of this product. And obviously there's just not enough return to continue it going. Unfortunately, Race Hero, I speak for probably a lot of karters, it was probably the better platform for live timing and results across the board. So now a lot of coders and software builders are looking and trying to figure out, okay, what can we do to kind of get back to that. If you go to racehero.io, it's gone. It has just a letter telling everybody what that they're shut down, no longer offering live timing, and encouraging people to go to Speedhive, which is the MyLapse or the home of Orbit's
AMB
and results. Unfortunately, as we've used the Speedhive and the live timing application, it does work. It just it's like a C grade. You got by. You provide a little bit of service, but not the 5-star level that we've kind of been accustomed to with Race Hero, because again, there's no official results on Speedhive. You have to go to the results section. It doesn't give you a lot of information. Like, when you do use Race Hero, you click on a driver, it gives you all this information, everything you need to kind of know. It gave you the hard chargers. It gave you the driver who lost the most positions and all these other different elements.
As an announcer, it was awesome. Because you could click through and grab a lot of information what was happening. As you said, hard charger, the position moves. You know what I mean? We knew if they dropped 10 and went up 10, like it was a lot was there. And as you said, David, there are other options right now for live timing that have been going for the last number of years. They just don't have the little extras, all that great stuff that you use when you're writing an article, or I use, or anybody else uses when they're calling a race. That's for sure.
Yeah, and Race Monitor is still there. It's usable. Cup Karts North America this weekend, they're using Race Monitor. WK Road Racing, that was at Daytona, they still use the Race Monitor. Unfortunately, you can't get official results through Race Monitor, and that's always kind of been the haggle. The biggest is Superkarts USA. They had the app. If you click on the app, it gives you a little spinny wheel and then takes you to the Race Hero we're shut down window. So Superkarts USA is not giving us an update into what they're going to be using. We're going to be there next week. It'll be quite interesting. I think they're going to use a lot of the WhatsApp to kind of communicate with people, because they use the app as a communicator, sending out the announcements throughout the app through the SCUSA app or the Race Hero app, depending on which one you are using. So it's a big piece of organization and, again, viewership. Like, when you're not at the racetrack, what do? You click on the live timing app to see where your friends or teammates or family are at. So it's a big hit to the karting industry. You have Race Select, the registration company, working on a different live timing. You have Alpha as well too, and some other, obviously the Speedhive as well. So it'll be interesting to see where kind of things go, what organizations are going to use. But as of right now, I would assume if you're not on Alpha, you're going to be using Race Monitor till something else comes along and you're able to use it.
I like somebody posted somewhere that Race Monitor was the DOS of the live timing.
It is. It's
old. It's the old standby, right?
It's like the Windows 95. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's, you could probably pop on a computer, turn on a computer that has Windows 95, and it'll still operate. It just doesn't quite give you all the gadgets and the trickeries,
all the bells and whistles.
That's Windows 10 or 11 will give you right now.
So agreed. We'll see what happens there. Race Hero, of course, was a big part of everything we did for a number of years. We'll see which companies step up and slide into the forefront. And again, as David said, more key, what service are the organizations going to lean to or going to work with moving forward? So we'll see how that plays out over the first quarter and first half of the year. I'm sure things will dial in pretty quickly. David, some of the cool news coming out as well, it involves Gary Carlton and GFC Karting earning their CIK FIA homologation. This is something that I think is just super cool in terms of an American-based manufacturer. Gary, of course, been around our sport for 20 plus years, 25 plus years, actually, and has gone from that young kid running 80cc junior all the way up through to becoming obviously one of our top drivers in the history of American karting, and of course now as a manufacturer and as a business owner as well. This is just, I think, a big piece of news that the GFC now CIK homologated.
It just takes the brand to that next level, because we've seen it at the international level, in Asia and a couple of events here and there, but their goal is to take on the world, and they've certainly taken on the United States and North America, winning a number of major victories and championships at all different levels. And so now I think it's kind of, let's see what we can do up against the world. I think they wanted to try and do that this year, but with the way the tire situation was, with the shifter categories, they decided to step back. So I think this is kind of the first step of, hey, let's see if we can get and go after a world championship, or even a European championship as well too. And that could be a possibility. We're still waiting to hear from Gary Carlton about their full assault on the international stage, but the GFC SS31, their single speed chassis, along with the GT14 shifter kart frame, those two are now homologated and ready for international competition. Going to be interesting to see exactly what they decide to do for the upcoming next 3 seasons.
Yeah, agreed. But shout out to Gary Carlton, everybody involved from top to bottom in getting this done. Great to see them now homologated.
Yeah, and it's not an easy process, that's for sure. Yeah, people think, oh, you just pay a little money and you get the homologation. Well, it's more than that. A lot of work has to go into it in terms of having material ready to go and be ready to be assessed and measured, and all the stuff that goes around it. So it's not just paying a fee, as some people commented on social media. It's a lot more than that. And again, it also puts you under, the homologation letter to where it kind of, I'm trying to think of the word, not necessarily establishment, but puts you, as a actual legitimate manufacturing brand.
Yeah, under the eyes and thumbs up from FIA and CIK, right? It's really an acknowledgement that you're kind of joined that group over in Europe. Let's put it that way.
You're a recognized manufacturer, because again, there's a lot of manufacturing that takes place around the world. You don't quite know exactly what's going on, but so that's the other cool side of it.
Back here at home, and of course up in Canada as well, is where we'll go to this next segment. Talk about Kartplex partnering with the UNISA School to launch a Motorsports Scholar Athlete Academy. This is something interesting. David had a chance to talk with Craig Feiner when this thing kind of was coming together. The UNISA School, I believe that's how you pronounce it. They offer an international baccalaureate, which I don't know what that is, to be honest. I'm sure that's some kind of an educational system that I don't know about.
Well,
did you get more insight on it talking to Craig?
It's kind of, it's like your high school diploma. It's equivalent to that, where, internationally, because there's a lot of students, not only in karting, but other different form of sports
right now
that are not able to go to a Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 or whatever time you go to school, and be able to do that. And so this is a way for them to kind of focus on scholar athletes who, whether it be hockey or skiing or other different types of sports that you're involved in, and be able to, there is a kind of, it's almost like an FIA for, I believe, educational purposes.
So hold on. I just did a quick search. It's a 2-year pre-college diploma program.
Right. Yeah. So, like I explained, it's very similar to getting your high school diploma, but kind of more focused for those who don't go to school Monday through Friday.
Exactly. You're totally focused on your sport, but you're still able to get this level of education to lead you into going to college.
Yeah. Golfing is another sport as well too. There's kids who can go and stay at this school and do their schooling through there, and then focus on their athletic abilities in the afternoon. But there's also there's non-students who do travel and go to other things where they can earn this this essentially diploma to be recognized as a scholar athlete. So
yeah, it's really interesting. I know that there's a number of these, like for golf and tennis, as you said, David, in Florida. This one, of course, is Motorsports Scholar Athlete Academy is going to launch in September. And the great thing is, so it's for motorsports. On-track activities will be at Kartplex, which I think is a really cool deal for some of the kids that are coming into karting and or maybe new to karting, whatever it may be, but they want to continue to focus on it, and then but still be able to do what they need to do. Because David, I think we all know, running at the top level of karting, and even if you're into cars at that point, 15, 16, it's super tough because the time demands, the travel demands are tough on a lot of these young athletes.
Yeah, my guess would be somebody like Ty Fisher, who is based from the Kartplex program, and he raced 52 weekends out of the year, whether it be here in the United States or elsewhere in Canada as well too. I got to assume he's got a little bit of connection to this program. And again, like we just said, hockey, golf, tennis, all of these different sports that are already involved. The UNICEF program is already involved with these type of sports. They're now looking to get to work with those who want to go into the motorsports world. And obviously drivers under the age of 18, karting is the focus of motorsports. So to be an hour away, I believe it's an hour away from Kartplex, it's kind of a win-win situation for the school and for Kartplex themselves, because they can utilize the racetrack for those motorsport athletes. And then Unisys houses them at the school. It's a really unique program. Again, it's not going to be an influx of racers that take advantage of this opportunity, but it'll be a good handful. They are hosting a rookie racer program, which will be those who are new to karting this spring, to kind of introduce people to the program itself, and also have a summer camp in July to be working at the Kartplex and Unisys to kind of understand more. But this Motorsport Scholar Athlete Academy will launch in September 2025.
Yeah, and again, there's no doubt it will have some momentum, as David said. It's going to have probably some notable names in the sport that'll be kind of working within it, and we'll be able to see them move forward as kind of the models of those who will move forward. So good on Kartplex and everybody over at RaceLab putting all that together with the Unisys school. Very cool to see how that will develop over the coming years. All right, folks, last break. We get back, David, now kind of go over the editorial that we saw throughout the website through December and the end of the year. We'll look at our podcast reviews as well. We'll talk about what's happening here on the ECAN Radio Network, and we'll wrap it all, as we always do, to tell you what's coming on ekartingnews.com. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the Ceramic product line, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, Smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by four-time Supernats champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce a high-performance, long-lasting kart that has been designed and perfected from 3 years of development, with a focus for a big push across North America in 2023. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product like Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Do you remember when American made meant innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorykarts.com. Welcome back. Let's cap off this edition of This Week in Karting to start off the 2025 season. Of course, all the news we're giving you is essentially stuff that made its way to the EKN homepage over the course of December 2024. David, let's wrap it up and talk about that. A lot of great editorial coming out. We talked about some product news. Of course, we had our driver of the month from November. Our December one still to get locked. You wrap things up with a lot of work to cap off it in December, finishing up with the final driver rankings of 2024.
Yeah, product news is the Comet Kart Sales transponder mount that goes on the Nerf bar. So a nice little cool 3D printed plastic mounting system that, rather than trying to zip tie or this and that, it's an actual mount that goes around the Nerf bar for the transponder to get that most forward position that everybody's looking for the category, or the organizations that do allow for that mounting. So make sure you go to cometkartsales.com, check that out. Driver of the month for November was Sebastian Garzon. It was a little bit of a toss up here in the EKN office about who to select for this. And we went with Garzon being a first-time winner and a now fourth driver to win both junior categories at the Super Nationals. Very impressive. Hats off to Joe Turney, the basically world champion in RI, that was able to do that for the first time in the senior category. So he was kind of the 1B selection for driver of the month in November.
It was tough.
But yeah, driver rankings for 2024 are complete. The shifter kart standings has Mateus Morgado, the SCUSA Pro Tour champion, in the number one position for PSL karting. Burrell Art, Kyle Wick finishing in second after earning the number one spot in last year's standings. And then a former number one, AJ Myers with Magic Kart there sitting in the third position.
David, remember what I thought was quite odd was the fact that Morgado ends up being number one without using a Super Nationals result, which I thought was massive.
We all know how that finished.
Yeah, we did.
But you look at Wick had a bad Super Nationals. Myers got on the podium, but again, just didn't, he wrecked out at the Summer Nationals. He didn't quite have the Winter Nationals results. I think he was on the podium at the Spring Nationals, but again, it just, he didn't quite have the results. Didn't race the SCUSA Winter Series, so that kind of hurt him. Morgado.
AJ's was a lot from the Star Series, right?
And again, that's not as ranked as the SCUSA Winter Series, Challenge of the Americas, SCUSA Pro Tour, or those are not the same. That's not at the same rank. So that does kind of hurt Myers because again, he didn't do the Winter Series. I think he did Florida Winter Tour, possibly. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Morgado won there. So, he got a number of wins to start the season. As we said, he won 7 straight races to begin 2024 with, he had 2 runner-ups and then 7 wins.
His average finish was 1.71.
Yeah. So it's tough. Real. And again, you take all 3 drivers as again, if we had an Olympic team and we had to pick 2, these would be our 3 drivers with the one being an alternate for sure.
Yeah.
Although Morgado's not US, so that kind of does.
That's true.
So we'd have to take Wick and Myers. So.
There it is. How about the guy on top of the rankings in the tag category?
Yeah, 7th time for Ryan Norberg as driver of the year in our tag category. Again, SCUSA Pro Tour champion for his 6th time. Nearly got a USPKS championship as well too, but didn't quite get that. It's just another record-setting year. We got another article coming out talking about kind of that type of scenario. And again, Alessandro Di Tullio, one of the most consistent drivers I've seen next to, say, Norberg over the last couple of years, because he's always been there. He's been there, didn't get a victory in 2024, but was there every weekend as a top challenger. Nearly got a victory, but just came up short a couple of times and finished up the year in second. Austin Garrison, the USPKS champion for 2024. Again, consistent results, was probably one of the quickest drivers all season long. Didn't have a full SCUSA season where he got results there, so that kind of hurt him. Didn't have Winter Series results as well too, because I don't believe he was racing then.
He got one, David. Round 2, he was sixth. It's interesting when you look at Garrison's results. It's Rotax Winter Trophy, SCUSA Pro Tour, SCUSA Winter Series, USPKS, and Supernats. Everything all 7 were super split up in terms of where he got his points from.
Yeah, and you got to remember, it's, the more racers you have, the higher the event rank is. So that's part of it too, where we didn't quite have the numbers at USPKS that we saw at the SCUSA Pro Tour, or especially at the winter programs. The winter programs were massive in terms of numbers. So that's part of it. And the ironic thing, Norberg and Alessandro Di Tullio had the same results at the Super Nationals that they did last year. So their points didn't change after Vegas, which was strange because, again, it had same number of ranked drivers in the field, of course, a massive field. So that was ranking was at 1 already. So just a strange scenario how that played out. But, consistent results, like I said, ADT certainly showed.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And for those of you who don't know about the rankings, depending on the level of the race, there's a base ranking. If there's a set number of a full field, we call a full field, it's another 1 point. So it could be a 10. Supernats is a 10, call it an 11 with the full field. And then the strength of the field, depending on how many drivers in the top 50 are actually in the field for a potential other full point to get up to a 12. So again, if a race has a full field and there's a ton of guys in the top 50 in it and you win it, it's going to be worth a lot more for you. That's for sure. David, let's have a look at a quick EKN podcast review. It's a recent show since the last time we've had a show here. Our last This Week in Karting, as we had said, episode 82. That was back early December. But of course, we did some face-to-face shows as well, with the racing kind of happening. First and foremost, the racing essentially this weekend right now. They will be at Jacksonville. So we talked to CKNA South's promoter Brett Spouty. We had John Seglem on as well. But then, of course, we talked to Andy Seisman, too, about the Challenge of the Americas, because that expanded 4-race series getting rolling at the end of January.
Yeah, so make sure anywhere you get your podcast, through iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or any other outlets, make sure you get those downloaded and you get a good listen to those. Or, again, head to our YouTube page and check out the actual live show we did with those interviews. Exactly that.
What do you got going on the EKN Radio Network right now?
The only 24-hour, 7 days a week channel for karting is continuing our rewinds. We're looking at Superkarts USA Winter Series from last year. That's playing today. We'll have this episode of This Week in Karting playing tomorrow on Friday. And throughout, we'll have different playlists throughout the weekend. And, of course, we'll probably do some more rewinds of SCUSA as we get ready to head there next weekend.
Yeah, indeed. So again, the EKN Radio Network, you can download the app anywhere, any one of your downloadable programs. So download that. Also, ekartingnews.com/radio. So that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as David had said. The old rewinds are fantastic. I love going back and listening to the old broadcasts we had from many years ago, which I thought were fantastic. I literally sent a picture over to Xander Clemens today, David, about the WK event that he did. I think he played that just last week. And Xander and I were kind of laughing because I sent the picture of him. It was from 2015. And he said, my braces were still on and I was about 120 pounds soaking wet. So he was a youngin' back then, David, at Kart Week.
He is a lot buffer, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's put a little weight on. No doubt about that. Yeah, 9 years older as well, which is crazy. It's crazy. Let's wrap things up, Dave, and talk about what's coming on EKN, because we're brand new into the 2025 season. We've talked already about the fact that we're heading to the SCUSA Winter Series opener at Orlando Kart Center. Again, everything happening at the Orlando Kart Center this year in terms of the winter programs. It's going to be a big run of races at OKC. January 10th, 11th, and 12th will kick things off, though David now will be trackside there. I'll be joining Xander Clemens and the crew for Kart Chaser for the broadcast there. But David, I know you've been talking to some people at SCUSA. It sounds like it's going to be a big weekend.
Yeah, pits are sold out essentially. They're trying to fill in as much space as possible to allow more racers in. But you have KA Junior opening up to 88 drivers. You have Micro Swift sold out. You have KA Senior sold out.
Wow.
I expect more sellouts from a couple other categories as well too. So it's going to be another massive event.
Wow. We'll get a couple of weekends off after that here in January, but Dave, we'll kick things off for this year's Challenge of the Americas at Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona, January 31st to February 2nd. I know numbers are up big time for this one as well in terms of the pre-registration. A couple of new teams coming in as well. It's extended to a 4-race series instead of a 3, not really just a winter series now, right? They're looking.
It's the Western Championship. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to see the debut of the Shinko kart racing tires in Tucson. And start, as you said, our 4-race program for what is now the Western Championship of the North America karting scene.
Yeah, Tucson, K1, Sonoma, Utah. It's going to be a fantastic run all the way through to the middle of June, so that'll wrap things up there. But David, otherwise, we've wrapped up the first show of the year. Not too bad. Episode number 83 of This Week in Karting. We'll see if we can't do one before another month. Otherwise, we're totally just going to have to change the name. We could say This Month in Karting. I guess that works.
No, we keep it the same and just call it This Month in Karting.
That's what we'll just do that ourselves. Otherwise, you ready to go for the new season?
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling already. As I said, I'm waiting for results to come from Jacksonville and get into 2025.
Well, folks, we will take this time to thank all of you who tuned in and watched our broadcast, listened to our podcast, all the face-to-faces who picked up all our content throughout the year. Those of you who were active, commenting on all of our social media channels, getting into discussions of what was going on. We were really thrilled. We had a fantastic year in 2024. All of the companies that make EKN work, thank you so much for being a partner with us, for being on board. We'll have so many into 2025 as well. Some new partners signing on as well for 2025, which is super exciting because, of course, that's what it takes to make sure this engine continues to run at full RPM for you. But otherwise, David Cole, myself, and Nate Dean ready for another big season. David, I think are you 16 races or 18 races on the docket for this year? Do you remember?
I don't know. We might add a couple more.
we might add a couple more. That's exactly right. I think I'm at 24 for this year. I think I had to back it off from a couple of years ago. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm like an NFL player. I'm day to day, Rob. I'm just taking one day at a time right now.
You're on the IR right now?
No, just one instead of one game at a time. I'm one day at a time. I'm not looking ahead. Can't look ahead because you got to focus on right now.
Well, listen, it's a full season, David. I got you down for 18 games, so
you'll be good to
go. You'll be good to go, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of This Week in Karting. Lots more to come, as I had said. Next week we'll have to knock out the Outlet podcast for the SCUSA Winter Series opener. I got to leave to go to Florida a little early on Tuesday, so we'll probably knock that out on Monday. David will get it going, hopefully for Tuesday for you. Again, season is underway. SCUSA Winter Series rolling. Briggs 206 drivers are down in Jacksonville right now for the Cup Karts South and the Cup Karts Winter Nationals. That'll be a heck of a weekend as well. A couple of big weekends for drivers down in Florida with, of course, the WK Kart Week event. But otherwise, we are glad that you tuned in. Thank you so much. And again, we'll see you throughout the 2025 season. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.